Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony. Welcome to another edition of BNA Sports Talk. And today, what I want to talk about is the New York Giants positional coaches. A couple of videos ago, I highlighted where I thought that we ranked. I think our positional coaches are good. Patrick Graham, Jason Garrett, just them two. I think are like a top half in this league if you take a look at it. But not a lot of people think so. But taking a look at our entire, coaching staff, I think we're solid. But today's video is about, where would they go potentially if they leave this year, and what would that mean for the New York Giants, Daniel Jones, and the whole 9 yards. So first of all, I want to play a clip by the NFL Network talking about Patrick Graham and how he could potentially be not with the Giants next year.
To start off with Patrick Graham, the new defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. Earlier in the show, we spoke about the Giants' defensive woes the past few seasons. In comes Patrick Graham, who is a Belichick disciple. 4 seasons on the Patriots staff with Belichick and Joe Judge. Really well-respected defensive coach. He was a defensive run game coordinator for the Packers before Miami. And he was part of that Patriots staff that won the Super Bowl in 49 in 2014. He's coached linebackers. He's coached defensive line. He's coached defensive. He's been a coaching assistant at the lower levels and said, hey, I'm going to rise up the ranks. It's the type of guy that Joe Judge knew when he was with the Patriots. They left each other for quite some time. And when Joe Judge got his first head coaching job, said, I'm bringing in Patrick Graham as my defensive coordinator.
Now, that's a very interesting clip. A lot of people think, Jason Garrett's going to leave. But what happens if Patrick Graham leaves? Now, I have a couple of points on this. First of all, I really do think that he's going to enjoy coaching this year, with a bunch of guys like Lorenzo Carter, O'Shane Ximines lifting them up. Now, if he's able to make them good, a team's going to look at Patrick Graham, he may be able to lift our team. Taking a look at potential spots, he may be looking to head coach. It's similar to Jason Garrett. My only thing is a bunch of teams have, young quarterbacks. You're going to bring in a defensive coordinator for a young quarterback. Take a look at a lot of old teams in this league with the old quarterbacks. Tom Brady, they have Bruce Arians. Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh Steelers. Phillip Rivers in Indianapolis. They're not going to get rid of Frank Reich. That's the reason why they brought Phillip Rivers in. It's to make that offense successful. I think he has a couple years down there. And just taking a look at the overall landscape, I don't really see that many spots for Patrick Graham to land. I think he's a great coach. Again, you heard Peter Schrager highlight linebackers coach, different things like that. And yeah, he would be a loss for us. It would be a major detriment. But, instead of sulking and weeping, and talking about how, he's from Miami and all these different things, who would we replace him with? My number one guy, honestly, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's either one or two ways. I think you know what I'm saying. But he basically, for the past couple of years, he was coaching with the Patriots, and then he moved on to Miami, and his resume goes like this. So he started off as a graduate assistant, 2000, 2001, so that's, solid standard. He's not a former player. I think he did play football in college or something like that. But anyway, so he went to coach the New England Patriots from 2006 to 2018. My major thing is, why didn't he really move up? He moved up from a coaching assistant to a cornerbacks coach, and then last year he was the cornerbacks coach for Miami. So Josh Boyer or Boyer, how you want to pronounce it, I don't really know that much about him, but what I know is he coached Stephon Gilmore, at least for a little bit maybe. I'm not too sure how that worked with the transition with Buffalo. He coached Darrelle Revis. He coached a bunch of those elite secondaries, Devin McCourty, Patrick Chung, we can name them. The Patriots were known a little bit more for their pass rush. I get it with Vince Wilfork, but especially over the past couple of years, just their pass defense has been amazing ever since 2014. That's been really the highlights of their team. So I think Boyer, I think he'd be pretty good. And also Logan Ryan, don't forget about that. So especially if you bring in a guy like Logan Ryan, he could potentially coach up our cornerbacks. We have a lot of young depth on this team, and that could be potentially useful for the Giants. Also, for what I saw with this other defensive coordinators that we could bring in, I could make a whole separate video about it, but I feel like just mentioning it. Dave Martindale, we were thinking about bringing in as a head coach, not just a defensive coordinator. I know he just signed a 3-year contract with the Ravens, making him the highest paid player coach. He loves it there. I think he's going to stay there. Would have been a great head coach option for the Giants had we brought him in, I think. Then Wade Phillips, he's been around forever. He coaches a 3-4. Patrick Graham wants to be a little bit more versatile, but I think we have the units for a good 3-4 system. We have a lot of defensive tackles, so we may be better at 4-3, but then again, we don't have that elite edge rusher. But we can always bring a guy like that in, like a Jadeveon Clowney, if cap flexibility demands it. Also, Jerome Henderson, he's currently on the roster. He's 50 years old, a little bit younger than your Wade Phillips. He's our current defensive backs coach. I don't really know that much about his resume. I know he coached like the Jets, the Falcons, the Browns, so obviously not great. But I think with the Jets, that was when Darrelle Revis was there, so obviously he's coached some good people. In the Falcons, he had some impressive numbers over there. They were like top 10 in interceptions for a couple years, and they had a really young secondary when he was there, so that would be an awesome option, plus continuity with this team. I didn't really see a lot of other options. You could say Brett Bielema on their team right now, Sean Spencer. I don't really think they have that much experience on the team just yet, but you never know with that. And then also, Steve Belichick, this is the wild card here. He's 33 years old. He didn't really have a heightened role last year with the Patriots as far as like a position like defensive coordinator. Bill Belichick remains the defensive coordinator over there, but he's pretty much the de facto guy. And now this year, he's the safeties coach. Demoted him a little bit, but a lot of people speak highly about him. I don't think Bill Belichick would mind a guy like Steve Belichick going to the Giants. And then let's go to the offensive coordinator position, Jason Garrett. Now, if he leaves, it's kind of like the best of both worlds because it's just like that means Daniel Jones had a great season. That's what that means. But you don't want to lose to Jason Garrett. He was probably the best option available. I tended to lean Jay Gruden. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide or the next clip, whatever you want to call it. But he has his system, and getting rid of him would obviously be a detriment to a Daniel Jones. We all know about that. But where would he go? Would he go to a Cincinnati maybe with Zach Taylor to learn, to coach Joe Burrow? What would he do? Where is he going to go? Jacksonville maybe if they fire Doug Marrone, and then potentially do the swap with Jay Gruden, which I'll mention in the next slide. I really don't see him leaving. I think that he's going to really enjoy coaching for the Giants. I think that he needs to build his reputation back up in order for him to, get another job. The thing is now he's the clapper. He's the clapper. So if he can become a brilliant offensive mind again, then he'll get a job. And I don't think that's going to be done over 1 year. And then some names I've already mentioned, plus Matt Nagy. So let's go over Jerry Schuplinski for my first overall candidate. He's in the Giants locker room. He would be in there for a year. He just got done with Miami and New England. Jacoby Brissett and Jimmy Garoppolo have said very kind words about Jerry Schuplinski. I'm not too sure what kind of offense he's going to run, but he's coached Tom Brady. He's coached Ryan Fitzpatrick. They got rid of him a little bit too quickly. Like they felt a little bit too quick to get rid of him. It's just like, I guess they wanted to hire their new guy. I know their new guy in Miami is like coaching Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's kind of camaraderized with Ryan Fitzpatrick and whatever, and they probably wanted to move on to Tua, so that's probably why they got rid of him that quickly. Then you get to Matt Nagy. He was basically the guy if it wasn't for Pat Shurmur, but now clashing with Andy Reid, Bill Belichick systems. Like, I'm not too sure if that's really going to work as far as philosophy-wise. Matt Nagy doesn't really like to run the ball. He hasn't been able to establish a run game. Now, you could say that's because the offensive line has been bad. With the Giants, they're going to have a good offensive line. Judge is more like strict, and then Matt Nagy, it's just like club dub. They do have a club dub thing in Chicago where they all dance and stuff, even after losses, I believe, which is really weird. But I don't really think it's going to be a culture fit, so I really don't think it's going to happen, even if he gets fired next year, which we don't know. But a lot of people are saying it's Matt Nagy's fault. With Chicago, I think, if Ryan Pace is going to be gone, so is Matt Nagy. And then finally, we have our next coaching candidate. I may have some other candidates down the line. I've mentioned like Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur in my last video. Jay Gruden, I don't think he's schematically diverse as a Jason Garrett. I think got a little bit stale in Washington, but as you can see, he loved Daniel Jones. I have my little bullet points, but he loved Daniel Jones. He loved Daniel Jones coming out, and he liked him over Dwayne Haskins. So maybe it's just like, I loved him coming out. And he's probably going to get fired as well as everybody. Even what do you call it? Ben McAdoo is the quarterback's coach there. Even Ben McAdoo is going to get fired. Probably like clean house. If Doug Marrone gets fired, it's all going to be gone, and they're going to start all over. So I wouldn't mind picking up a Jay Gruden. He's not that much of a drop-off, I would say. I just don't think it would be that sexy. But again, he's familiar in division. He knows how all these other offenses and defenses work. He'll be able to give some insight for a Joe Judge. And as far as in-house options, I don't really see that many besides Jerry Schuplinski. Burns, are you really going to trust him from running backs coach all the way up to offensive coordinator? And that's pretty much all I got to say for today. In the end, I think that Jason Garrett and Patrick Graham will stay on to next year. Jason Garrett still needs to build his resume. And then Patrick Graham, I think he's going to really enjoy coaching. And I think Patrick Graham's going to end up like a Vance Joseph. We're going to find out that he's a way better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach because he knows a lot about the ins and outs of the team. And he'll just be better served in that aspect. He may be a good leader. I don't know. We'll see this year how he does. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think. Did I miss any offensive / defensive coordinators? We still haven't played any snaps this year, so there's a lot that still could change. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.